success in sales is not just about closing the deals, but about stitching the solutions effectively, making affordable solutions for the customer. I believe that whether it is sales or finance or operations, every area the data plays a very important role. Your analysis, your judgment should be 100% backed by the data.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, uncovering some great achievements and contributions of unsung heroes, inspiring others. In our show for the day, we have a prominent personality in the sales domain, Mr. Amresh Kumar. He is at present a lead business consultant with expertise in pre-sales and solution architecture in the software as a service as well as electric vehicle mobility domains. Mr. Amresh Kumar, I'm excited to begin the discussion for the day.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction, Sunny. It's an absolute pleasure to be here on the FaceTime with Leaders. Thank you.
Great to hear that. So to begin with, Mr. Kumar, you have built quite a vast portfolio which includes electric vehicles and enterprise software solutions. So I'm intrigued to know more about such a milestone you have reached as a solution architect.
So, first of all, thank you for that. My journey as a pre-sales consultant and solution architect has been quite diverse. I've had the opportunity of working across various industries, including electric vehicles, enterprise software solutions, market research, and banking services in various setups, such as global capability centers, Indian private limited company, captive MNC, Indian holding company. So when I reflect on my 18 years of work life, I get a sense that this diverse experience I have gained have been instrumental in shaping my role as a sales consultant and also as a solution architect. Now, this has been only possible because I have spent considerable amount of time working in various roles or capabilities, starting from the entry level, from process analyst to analytical consultant to business analyst to people manager. Then I moved up to head of the analytics department, and then finally as a pre-sales consultant and solution architect. So each of these experiences has taught me unique challenges and learning opportunities with respect to the three important pillars of the organization, that is people, process, product, and technology. So these are very important for any organizations to work very strongly. The foundation has to be very strong for all these three pillars. So I've worked very closely on all of these aspects, and that gave me a holistic understanding of the business functions inside out, like importance of task to be process oriented, importance of documentation, delegation of task, and maintaining the checkpoints at a regular intervals. So simultaneously, I also saw technology helping business transform either through automation of repetitive tasks or upgrading to more advanced applications or programming to get our things done. Like I remember, I started working with SaaS as a statistical programming tool. Now the things have so much changed. Now the people are much comfortable working on Python programming. So it has changed from SaaS to R to Python now. And similarly with the database, earlier we had some centralized database. Now there are concept of decentralized database and cloud storage. So there are things have changed as I've worked throughout these years. And the next very important piece when I talk about data is whether it is quantitative or qualitative types, and be able to use it cleverly. We have to understand how this data can be harnessed properly. So working on the data with the right methods will give you beautiful results. I believe that whether it is sales or finance or operations, every area the data plays a very important role. Your analysis, your judgment should be 100% backed by the data. That's what I have experienced and I've learned. So one need to have very good knowledge on measuring criterias or the KPIs. These are the important indicators for metrics to understand how your business is doing, what is the performance. You can also anticipate the outcome with greater probability. So these are some of the things I have learned over the years. And let me tell you, back in 2018 and 2019 when I was at Lithium, so I have developed some important statistical logics, which were related to electric vehicles landscape. And these logics now have been integrated into the into the in-house applications, and even some of them are integrated into Excel macros. So these logics I can recollect are basically, I can give you some practical examples. These are like driving modes and battery performance relationships, the correlations between the two different variables, and then the fast charging versus slow charging efficiency, then the correlation between the driving behavior and the battery aging. And I also tapped into OEM's telematics data, which were coming on the real time, and derive some of the real time power loss for all the driving modes of EV variants. I have worked on EV variants like E2O, E2O Plus, E-Verito, and one of the variants from Tata as well. So I have seen how different telematics data of different vehicles give different kind of understanding about the performance of battery, performance of the vehicle. So these were the real-time problems I have solved using the data intelligence, based on which I designed value propositions, sales proposals. And these projects not only required technical expertise, I feel, but it also needed a very deep understanding of the full business landscape, because once I understand the product or the company offerings, I can put the same thing into the sales proposal or the value proposition, and I can understand how I can fix the customer issues or pain points, right? So it is very important to have the entire full business landscape understanding. And apart from that, I also gained a lot of understanding on the customer requirements and the different business functions which are running inside the business, like interacting with the vendors, suppliers, OEMs, whether it is the HR team, IT team, ground operations, fleet managers, liaison with all of them, and then make a winning solution. So now I'm just moving fast forward in 2021 to 2024 at Sapiens. Now at Sapiens, it was a total different world for me. It was the insurance domain. I moved from electric transportation domain to an insurance domain, and this role was basically to understand the customer unique software needs and craft, the solutions, tailor-made solutions with data and analytics as the core focus. So in a span of 2 years, I was able to secure high-value contracts with four new insurers globally, with a booking amount of $4 million annual. And my sales pipeline had customers from various parts of the world, such as Czech Republic, UK, Germany, Vietnam, Thailand, South Africa, and USA. And one particular challenge I faced in this software solution domain was how to align our software products offerings with the insurance regulatory requirements. So they have, in the insurance domain, there are regulatory bodies in each geography, in each economy. Like in India, we have IRDAI. Similarly, other countries have their own framework and regulations. Like in America, there is one called BMA, Bermuda Monetary Authority. And similarly, in Thailand, they have OIC and Lloyd's Market Association in London. So there are different regulatory bodies which are governing all the insurance requirements by the insurers, right? So they have a typical a report that they want to have from the insurance company. So this was the balancing act. As a software solutions, I need to understand whether my underlying pre-built data models has that capability to generate those extra variables or extra regulatory requirement reporting materials, and whether those models can be customized or not. And then comes the next part, is whether the software is compatible to fit into the customer's tech architecture, right? So these were some of the important challenges I had to understand, as a holistically, how, I can provide the solution to the customer, as well as solving these challenges with my current architecture. So the requirement why this was there is because the data had to flow seamlessly, from the data source to the data generation part, how the data can flow without any manual intervention, and has to be generated on a timely basis onto the business user system, whether it could be a laptop or a desktop or a handheld devices, something. And it has to be readily available. Like if the business user want to see the data on a daily or a weekly or at any intervals, they want to see the data. So these have to be sorted out only if somebody has an understanding of how the pieces in the technology architect work and are linked together, and what are the challenges that could come if the customer is asking something out of your a pre-built model. So these are the some of the things that I was able to solve, and with which I was able to do, for insurers contracts successfully. Now, moving ahead, all of this. So what I basically want to say that all of my work, whether at Lithium, inducting electric vehicles into corporate transportation, solving the carbon emission problems, and satisfying the ESG policy, or at Sapiens, transforming the insurance players' data challenges through data analytic solutions and some level of programming, all have been incredibly fulfilling and challenging, and as well as learning for me. So what I realized this today is that all the year-on-year learnings have reinforced my belief that having this cross-industry knowledge is very powerful. Plus, the advantage of having the first-hand experience in all the business function is really important. Because if I was just sitting and understanding the theory, or just the how the things work, I would not have gained how things work actually. What are the nitty-gritties, or what are the inside issues? So luckily, I got a chance. So it taught me that success in sales is not just about closing the deals, but about stitching the solutions effectively, making affordable solutions for the customers, at the same time, having a decent margins for the company, and deliver the company values and services also that resonates with the client at every touch point. So from this initial proposal implementations, from this initial proposal presentation to the project implementation, and even after the project delivery at the CRM level. So these are my understanding and the experience that I wanted to share. Yeah.
Amresh, thank you for the excellent start to this podcast. And I must say, your career journey is truly inspiring. All right. So, in your current role at Sapiens, you have made several professional accomplishments. One of them is building $3 million in revenue with plans on increasing it to $11 million. Understandably, you more than 1.5 decades of experience is the biggest factor. So, what else do you believe has contributed to this?
Sure. So what really made a difference for me was the experience I got directly from a variety of roles I handled over the years. It just didn't come as a rule of book to me, or somebody, gave me a knowledge overnight. It all happened only, because of my leaders in the past had put in trust and confidence in me to give some new responsibilities or new roles, and to which I, of course, proved them right by achieving those targets, on time. So it is because of those all multiple things that has led me to understand the sales, the various aspect of the sales. So the ability to run pre-sales process end to end independently. I understand how the leads are getting generated, how the leads have to be closed, the ability to anticipate the ambiguity with respect to customer requirements, conduct multiple meetings with the customer to do the right assessment, preparing detailed questionnaires, documentation of all the discussions, preparing statement of work, reviewing the master service agreements, and negotiating tactics, for the cost approvals, project resource planning, making P&Ls, and ultimately the business understanding. So all of this has actually helped me to understand how to work in the sales environment. So this is a mix of technical plus functional experience. On the very important other point that I want to mention is to have a cordial relationships with internal and external, stakeholders. That is very, very important, because that helped me to draft solution on time and of a good standard. I can give you one very short example of a recent time that, there was one customer from Vietnam, insurance company, had floated out an RFP, where Sapiens was one of the vendors. So I was handling that particular client, and I went through all of the RFP requirements. And one of the requirement was about scanning the document automatically. So that's called image recognition feature. But that feature was not very mandatorily asked by the customer in the RFP. They were like, it is a good to have feature. Now, because I had good relationship inside, with the research and development team and the product team, I was well aware that there is this new feature which recently my R&D team had completed, but it was not in a production mode. It had just completed the beta phase testing, but we were looking out for some customer where we can, implement that feature and see how we are doing with that. So we were looking out for some new customer. So this was a very good, touch point or good entry for me, that how I can bring in this feature. But before that, I needed a lot of approvals because this feature was still in a in a testing phase. So I had needed approvals from the inside leadership, as well as I also had to be transparent with the customer, telling them that, look, this is a new feature. If you take this feature, of course we will do some sort of discounting on this, but of course we expect you to give us some lot of improvements or feedbacks on this particular feature so that we can develop or fix all the bugs and things. This is all what we need is a two-way relationship from the customer and from the from the Sapient side also. So ultimately we won that agreement from the customer. We were qualified from compared to other vendors. So this feature was, bundled into the product at a discounted price, not at a market price. But the benefit was that, the customer was getting a benefit that all of the feature of this product was enabled, not nothing was disabled. Everything was enabled for them. And at the same time, we were getting an opportunity to use this as a success case study, so that we can use it as, as a reference for any future sales and all, right? So this is one very important case I wanted to highlight. When you have these relationships with different stakeholders, there are a lot of things going in parallel. There's development going on, there's a delivery going on, there's a discussions going on, there's a financial negotiations going on. There are customers who are visiting to the client, customers, are people going to certain geography. So there are a lot of things happening in parallel. So the moment you have all of these informations, you know when to pitch those things at the right moment. So this I wanted to give an example how this cordial relationships helped me. So moving on, along with the client acquisition and revenue generations, I also did several marketing activities. So at Lithium, I remember I have done voiceover for three social media ad campaigns which were needed in the northern part of India. So the company was expanding at that moment. I'm talking about 2018 or 2019. So there was we had identified Gurgaon and Noida as the base for expansion. So I, being a Hindi native speaker in the team here in Bangalore, my boss assigned me the task of preparing this marketing videos, which were used to invite the drivers and enroll themselves as a partner at Lithium. So I've done this, as a marketing activity. Apart from, addition to this marketing videos, I have also created, I've also done customer interviews, documented success stories, endorsements, and prepared industry standards case studies, with the customer approvals. Now I'm using it as a reference for the new sales. And also at Sapiens, I have created around 11 case studies from a blank slate, I would say, where I've captured or, the details from different stakeholders and prepared a case studies. Now those case studies are used to demonstrate the Sapiens success at a different or at a new sales opportunity, how we have solved the data challenges for the global customers. So this is what I want to, add on to the sales part, that marketing also plays very important role, the understanding of marketing activities, and further to build on the point, that what else contributed to my pre-sales success? That was your initial question. There is one very important aspect that I want to share, that my experience as an account manager. So I think it is important to mention that because I learned the post-sales experience by being in this role. As an account manager, one will definitely have the post-sales experience. For Bangalore-based clients, I was managing around 5 clients with a consolidated fleet size of up to 150 electric vehicles, and my job was to meet the stakeholders of customers at their site regularly and collect the feedback on deliverables and proposed fleet ramp-up plans, and then solve any ground issues like driver, trips, shift, etc. So I was also an account manager for one client in Noida and Hyderabad and one client in Hyderabad, and that was a consolidated fleet size of 75 electric vehicles. Yeah, and since the company was in expansion mode, the immediate availability of account managers were not there actually to handle this task. So hence I took this opportunity. But irrespective of my exact role or designation that I was hired for, but I took this as an extended responsibility because my focus was to learn. Believe me, it was very tough time. It was very tough time because there were months that I have worked continuously for 30, 31 days without taking breaks, even on Sundays, just to meet the client and business needs. And also have to focus on completing my actual work. So it was very challenging. So I'm happy that those days are gone now. but I certainly do not advise others to follow the same. Do not, you're just going, only if you have your personal choice, do it. Otherwise, do not take my advice just blindly. It was my choice to get into the first hand experience. It was my interest of learning new areas firsthand. So today, when I see that, it translated well by helping me understand the business comprehensively. So I believe it is about continuous learning plus adapting to the new challenges. So it helped me identify growth opportunities early on. And moreover, the strategic approach for account management, where I was not just meeting the client, but also creating value for the clients, proactively, which has been very instrumental in driving this revenue. So that's what I want to say.
Sounds incredible. And it looks like with each layer we peel, there are more to uncover. So, Mr.
Yeah,
Amresh Kumar, your excellence in sales is firmly rooted in your expertise in data analysis.
yeah.
This goes without a question that pre-sales and post help you form a strong strategic network. Still, could you share some insights into managing such a complex function?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Data has been my foundation from the very beginning of my career. I have always been part of data teams, either database management, data validation, reporting, data analytics, and machine learning. So I strongly believe that data analysis plays a key role in shaping the sales strategies, customers, or other stakeholders, like their discussions or presentations to be backed by facts, data, or some sort of conclusions or inferences, or conclusions or analysis to get their attention or buy-in. Without data, the things sound so abstract. So using sales funnel data, if I have to give an example, I have been able to identify approximately 25 most likely prospect. So sales funnel has a lot of information. It has the new customers, it has the old customers. There are customers which we would have contacted in the past, but somehow we have lost touch, or because of their not interest, we have left the some sort of connect. But when you review the sales funnel data again, so there are chances that you identify much more prospect for cross sell opportunities, for upsell opportunities. So I have done that. I identified that doing some requirements based on the geography or some of the product requirements. I was able to identify 25 most likely prospects, and of which 12% got converted into customers. So that itself was very much important, that we don't have to look out always for a new lead generations. You also have data with you. You can utilize it as per your need. And in another scenario where my leadership didn't have visibility on overall sales performance, what is happening inside the company. So typically on a one screen that they prefer to have, right? Like if you see the old method of doing it is on the Excel, you have huge amount of data, there's a pivot, and based on the pivot, you will see a lot of charts, pie charts, graph, histograms, on the Excel itself. So it is still a cumbersome process because somebody has to keep adding the data to it and keep refreshing it. Now, something that can be more, automated or made to as per the current trend was, utilize some of the latest technology. So to get rid of this manual Excel work, I conceptualized a Power BI sales funnel dashboard, which featured 7 key sales performance indicators to provide a comprehensive overview of the performance. And these reports were dynamic, to the time, to the salesperson, to the location types, etc. So by analyzing this pre-sales data, example sales funnel data, we can identify the patterns and trends and tailor a pitch accordingly. By using the same sales funnel data, we can identify the potential cross-sell or upsell opportunities. You just need to have the right metrics figured out, already. So then we have the post-sales data. We are talking about the sales funnel, which is the pre-sales. Then we also have the post-sales data. So post-sales data, provides insights into the customer satisfactions and the areas of improvement. It could be either in digital applications. It could be some sort of upgrades in the system. Some patchwork need to be done. Some features enablement should be done compared to other vendors in the market, etc. So it is not just about the data. It is about how you interpret it and the actionable insights you derive from it. So I want to end, by saying that adhering to the data-driven sales strategy helps you pinpoint your ideal audience segment. Where does your sales stand as against the targets that you have set inside the business, and model your each lead acquisition accordingly, and boost the effectiveness of your the overall campaigns. Yeah.
Amresh. That was an invaluable piece of information. All right. So, Mr. Amresh Kumar, with the changes in technology, how do you foresee the field of sales being altered? And what advice would you like to give to our viewers on keeping up with such changes in future?
See, we can talk about many aspects of current. There are a lot of buzzword right now with respect to AI, ML, integrations or the IoT is coming in, right? So this let me talk about how these are getting integrated now. This artificial intelligence is a is a broader term, that covers several different technologies like machine learning or natural language processing or deep learning, etc. And at the core, all of these technologies are helping machines to perform some cognitive task, better than the humans. That the machines do not want a lot of manual inputs, that is involving time and effort from the humans. Rather, it is learning. It has a learning model, which is the machine learning model, which automatically learns based on the user preference and do some task in a cognitive way. So these technologies powered by artificial intelligence, and machine learning are definitely reshaping the sales landscape. We have a lot of examples around us like Alexa, Siri, the new one which we are seeing as driverless car. So these are all based on intelligent automation, and these are all actually adding up to the customer satisfaction in somehow, from and helping business to expand more, and take more part of the market share. So the sales team uses this predictive analytics, to anticipate customer needs and behaviors more accurately. So, for example, an integrated automation, sales tool will write email subject on its own, email subject line for any business users. But a human, has to do it all the time manually by looking at what is the subject and all. But if the same human can train the tool's machine learning and use some sort of sample marketing tool, later on the tool itself will draft own subject line for a different kind of scenarios. So this is just one easy example of how intelligent automation can be used in various areas. With the use of IoT, the sales professionals can obviously develop the better strategies, tactics, and improved sales message for their customer, which are more catchy for the customer. So I worked on IoT devices, let me tell you that, when I was at Lithium, like telematics and ADAS. ADAS is basically advanced driving alert system. The core purpose of the telematics is to capture real-time data of the vehicle and its peripherals performance and emit those data to a server for further consumption. And similarly, ADAS is a device that, those are the systems which basically helps in driver monitoring and creates and send some alert or trigger to the server or to the driver, and that actually enables for the entire motive of it is to provide comfort driving, to the passengers. So in public transportation landscape, drivers go through fatigue, even the vehicles does because of the continuous running and less time, so less rest time. So we understand that it is impossible for manual monitoring of vehicles or drivers in different locations at different times. So here comes the role of IoT devices, helping capture the raw data from the various sensors and on a real time. So the passengers do not have to know the IoTs, but they expect, from the transportation providers to provide best in class services. So the providers need to have certain IT systems into their landscape that that can help them decipher these information into data, crunch the data, and do the performance monitoring ultimately, and do some sort of analysis proactively and take actions wherever required. Right. So now you see how IoTs are helping in by taking an example of telematics or ADA system, how it is helping or how it is playing a very key role, in customer satisfaction. And this ultimately adds up to the sales, for better customer engagements, marketing campaigns, So similarly in account farming activities, what is account farming? Where you are just already having a list of, used sales funnel data, and you're just trying to figure out whether there are any good potential prospects lying in your, the sales funnel data. So it also helps in the account farming activities when you have IoT integrated systems, it will change the business thought process and also the approach method by having some specific cross-sell or upsell strategies, initiatives which are unique to each kind of customers. So that all are possible if we have a proper integration of intelligent automation into our system. So I want to conclude by saying that I foresee a future where the sales professionals will need to be more data and tech savvy. They have to be. There's no other way. And understanding not just the products that they are selling, but also the underlying technologies, and be able to, communicate the same or, propagate the same effectively at different platforms, whether in a one-to-one meeting or any workshops or any events. So this is what I want to conclude by saying.
All right. So those who want to make a career in this particular landscape, are you guys listening? All right. Uh, Mr. Amresh Kumar, thank you for such nice advice on making a career in sales. All right. So moving ahead, you're aiming for a boardroom position since a lot of your experiences are relevant to it. Is there any particular experience that has led to decide on this particular transition?
Yeah, sure. My aspiration for a boardroom position is driven by totally by my desire to contribute the strategic decision making or at the highest level. That is very important because I've seen a lot of differences. I will be sharing one. I'm just recollecting one incident or one audit I had done. So I have been involved in this audit and reporting, which has given me a strong foundation, in governance, how things has to happen at a leadership level, how things are missing out, or there is not much of clarity at sometimes at a leadership level as well, what is happening at the ground. So let me when I was I'm just giving a one quick example on the audit that I had conducted, and this was way back in 2019, early 2019. So I was 2 years old into lithium, so by that time I understood the company entire the business and the different aspects of the business, that the goals, the objectives of the business, what products and offerings are there for the business. So I had a pretty much good understanding. So as one of the tasks I was given to do an audit, because there are some sort of productivity issues and misalignment of what was expected from a particular branch in Noida operations was not as per the expectations. So I was given this task of auditing, and this was a kind of internal audit at an operational level. Let me tell you that it was not at any other department. So I didn't had any proper plan, to be very frank. I just had understanding that what is asked by the leadership. Leadership will just give you, the requirement. This is what I want to know. Find out. Now the entire thing has to be done by by the one who is undertaking this audit. So I was clueless how to do that. So I had to figure out my way of approach, my way of having these steps, and my way of finding concluding all of those items. How I'll proceed with the audit steps from the day one to the final day of conclusion. So I was sent there for around 2 weeks, for 15 days, to understand what is happening, why the things are not working as per the expectation. So I was in Noida for around 2 weeks at one of the client location. So the hack here, what I applied, was I entered there as a trainee. So I didn't tell them that I am here for doing some sort of audit, because that will create some sort of sensation or panic. So I went there in as a trainee. I told them that I want to understand how the ground operations are working, how drivers' duties are happening, trips are performing. Are there any challenges on the charger side, on the asset side, or on the any other important issues that you want to highlight? So I am for overall purpose, and this will actually going to help you ultimately. So I didn't had any problem at the time of entry. So that was something that came in, uh, it came in just impromptu in my mind. So uh, with that uh, with that understanding, I went in for the audit, of course, and then the real thing started. So I was with that entry, I got access to a lot of meetings, a lot of stand-up meetings, a lot of conversations that are happening between the supervisors, the drivers, the the allotments, the vehicle collections, the vehicle departure, the logins, the logouts. So I was able to access all of this information because that was as part of the training. I was getting all the understanding. So when I learned all the landscape, what is happening in that particular unit, in a particular site location, there are a lot of, uh, shocking, things that I was able to discover there. There were issues at a people level. There was some sort of kind of union happening at a driver level. So a lot of drivers were getting shorter trips. Some drivers were getting only longer trips. That was a pretty much a politics case, and it does happens in a blue collar job scenario. So that was one thing that I learned. Then there was very weird scenario, which was a financial leakage was happening at a driver level because there were certain drivers who were taking money for their personal reasons, like some sort of personal citing some personal reasons from the operations team because and they were not returning back to the duty as they had committed to. So this was kind of a kind of leakage happening from the operations side. Now I understood why this was happening. It is not, I can't blame somebody immediately. I understood that operations also have pressure from their leadership to achieve the productivity. At the same time, operations has pressure from the driver side also to follow their, or to understand their problems so that they can also have the same faith on the operation. So basically, the supervisors or the operations teams are also getting sandwiched in between the two, two levels. So I understood that, but that was not my intention to give a kind of a gyan or kind of giving some justification to them. But this was just my takeaway. But I understood that there is some sort of financial leakage happening, and that was unethical because if it has to happen, it has to happen through a HR way or something. So that was not happening. So it was happening conducted only at the operational level. That was one. Then there were issues around vehicles not being maintained properly after the trip was getting completed because in an electric vehicle, the vehicle has to be immediately put into the charge so that the next driver can take that vehicle for the next trip, and the vehicle should not stop somewhere in between if it is carrying some corporate employee into the car, right? So there were a lot of issues that I figured out, and those were very much operational issues, and one with the HR related. So I came back all those findings and I reported to all the internal stakeholders here in the Bangalore in the head office, like with the HR, with the operation head, and of course with the boss of the company. And that was my whole duty to, the job to basically do the complete the audit. So this is how I presented, categorizing under people, categorizing under driver, categorizing under asset, the vehicles and the charging, and then obviously categorizing in other reasons like finance, the leakage is happening. So I presented those reports with, of course, citing the names and all. The result, what I saw after a few weeks and all, I saw that, how it helped. Because let me talk how this audit is helping. The two important things happened right in front of me. It happened so quickly. Within, almost a month, I saw that change. The first thing that happened is the shuffling started happening. The ground team was being shuffled from one unit to another unit within the same city. They were not sent out to some other city. They were being shuffled in various units so that there is no, they're not stagnant in one and they don't create some sort of politics. So the shuffle started happening, and it was not affecting their salary or shift timings or any other roles and responsibilities. It was just swapping or shuffling their the sites on a timely basis. Let's say 15 days you work on site A, it's 15 days you work on site B, like that. So that definitely avoided some sort of political things. Second most important I saw, which was very sad, some people from the operational level, some people from the driver had to let go from the company because they were not ready to follow, or they had some past history also that were collected by the HR after doing some due diligence or doing some sort of further investigations. They got to the proof, got to the evidence to how what action has to be taken. So this is how the entire audit completed, and the governance was set. So this actually proves gives a very good understanding. What I realized is here there was a big gap between the operations at the ground level with the company. Company is worried that okay, I've set all the regulations, all the rules and things for the things, I've prepared all the standard operating procedures, documentation, but why things are not happening? And if you send somebody senior, they would, obviously anybody would get very shocked, and everything to showcase them, it will work in a very sugary way, which they will not be able to figure out. So you have to find a way how you get to know the raw things happening. So somewhere I was able to, solve that problem, and I'm very happy for that. So I did that. So this is one good example I wanted to share as part of audit and governance, that how it is important. And I've seen many other cases, and in Sapiens as well, and in my previous company in Genpact or Wells Fargo. So I've seen there are a lot of things that don't go up to the top level, and I really feel sad that there has to be a some sort of whistleblower policy or ombudsperson, having playing that role, irrespective of time, or irrespective of any certain department. So these are very important things, so that the management is also happy, and the customer is also getting the right image of that particular the company. So this exposure of electric vehicle mobility, where I served extensively to the ESG initiatives, of various corporates. I worked with Wipro, with Accenture, with Mercedes-Benz, with Accenture, and many more. So I believed, how important this ESG initiatives are, paramount for all the listed companies today. So, yeah, going back to your question, why this career now? The decision to aim, for this boardroom position was influenced by several factors: the experience in business development, process efficiency, audit and governance, data analytics, and backed by the financial acumen that I have, is what pushing me to go for this particular position in the boardroom. I feel that with the soft skills as well, like probing skills, or time management, or communications, or the adaptability, or the intention to solve the problems. I feel all of these I've learned with the first-hand experience, and now I should, move into that role to help, businesses on a better way. So actually want to contribute meaningfully to the boardroom, not just by being as a headcount. I want to bridge the gap between the strategy, what is being made at the top level, and what is being followed at operations. And if there are any challenges, let us solve it, amicably, and also advocate the progressive policies, practical solutions, and ensure that the board members are connected to the realities of the organizations. So, furthermore, my involvement in ESG initiatives has underscored, the importance of the sustainability and ethical governance. So, all in all, yeah, I just want to say that I want to apply the skills and experience to make a broader impact at a boardroom level.
Samresh, thank you for sharing such amazing insights with us today. Honestly, even though your work experience is relevant, I cannot say that it comes in handy for your directorship plans, since you have to upscale yourself to it. So now that you have chosen Directors Institute for your knowledge partnership on ESG and corporate governance, as well as certification assistance, how has your experience been so far?
So, choosing a Director Institute as my knowledge partner was a well thought decision. It took me 17 to 18 years to realize what I actually want to do and what I enjoy doing it. So, the comprehensive courses on non-executive directorship and ESG and the corporate governance, align perfectly with my goals actually. And I feel very confident securing a board positions now that I have good understanding about the technology, the coming up, the current trend, how it is going to look like in future. So the learning has this, along with this current learning at what I have achieved at Director Institute with respect to guidance from the current board members, that during some of the live sessions I got a chance to interact with some of the current board members. They shared their experiences, and how to conduct different kind of discussions, and some of the simulation exercises that we did together in this institute. So the guidance, overall enhanced my experience, plus made me aware that, what are the boardroom expectations, what are the challenges, how to align with the several laws and the best practices of the corporate affairs. And to be honest, enrolling with the Directors Institute was a strategic move. So my belief is that staying ahead in today's corporate world requires not just experience, but also the right knowledge and credentials. It is not just understanding from the YouTube, or by hearing somebody else's conversations and understanding, okay, I know everything. No, that's not how it is for me. I have to take a very strategic method to understand bits and pieces of everything with the experience, with the theory, everything that has helped me a lot in this particular institute, and that this particular support and the certification from the Directors Institute will definitely give me the confidence to take on this new challenge and contribute effectively at the board level. Sunny.
Absolutely, and wish so. Mr. Amresh Kumar, the conversation has been really enjoyable, and I'm sure that our viewers have a lot to take back home.
Okay.
So we wish you great milestones even in the fields of ESG and corporate governance. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a nice day.
Sure. I just want to say it has been a pleasure for me as well, sharing my journey and insights with you and your audience. It is a two-way learning. I see that today. And I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. So I hope our conversation today has provided some valuable takeaways for those who are tuning in. So thanks again for this wonderful platform. Thank you. Thank you, Sunny.
Thank you. Thank you so much.